Let me say something that I think is going to save you a lot of time. Your worth is not determined by how someone treats you. In fact, how someone treats you usually has a lot more to do with them than it does with you. I mean, unless you want it to mean something and then you get to apply that, but that's not really how it works. And most of us, we do let it mean something to us. We make it mean everything because basically we were programmed from birth by the people around us, by our caregivers, by our loved ones. We learned what love looks like based on how we were treated. Like, did we make mom happy? Did you get good grades? Was grandma smiling? Were your siblings inclusive? Because as a kid, being accepted meant survival. It wasn't emotional, it was primal. It was in your brain. If you were accepted, you were safe. If you weren't, you were at risk, right? So your nervous system wired itself to one thing. Your value is based on how people treat us. That shit runs deep. Here's the problem. That was never actually your worth. That was just conditioning. And you're not broken. You're not damaged. You are, however, programmed. And if it was programmed in, it can be programmed out. I'm Nurse Adrienne, and I teach people how to break those patterns so that you can actually have the life that you've been wanting. But here's where it gets just a little tricky. So you grow up, we become adults, and we don't update that program. We're still walking around with this unconscious belief that if someone treats me badly, I'm bad. There's something wrong with me. And that's where people really get stuck. I'll give you a really good example that I had to also contend with at one point. My stepmother treated me like shit. She favored her own kids. She gave them our toys. She excluded us at Christmas. She wouldn't even tell our dad when we called, right? We never knew what days he had off to see him. She was just a mean bitch. And I went from being the oldest to being someone who wasn't valued, to suddenly not even mattering in what I thought was my own family. And as a kid, I didn't think, wow, she must have unresolved trauma and emotional wounds. Nope. I thought, what the fuck is wrong with me? What the hell did I do, right? That's how kids process this information. But the truth is, she didn't really hate me at all. She hated my mom, right? She had her own shit. She was raised by an alcoholic. She had been married to an alcoholic. She had her own wounds, but she took them out on me and plenty of other people too. But that little girl, she didn't know the difference, right? So she made up her own mind and applied her own story. When people treat me badly, it must be me. I can try harder. And boom, that was my pattern. And it doesn't really stop there. It's like the teacher who didn't like you because they reminded you of someone else. They reminded them of someone else. The babysitter who treated you badly, sent you to bed early because she didn't want to be there. She wanted to be on the phone with her friends. The friend who excluded you because she was actually too afraid to invite you, right? But our brain doesn't go there. It goes straight to, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? And then we grow up and we're going about being an adult and we carry that same lens into adulthood. Someone pulls away. What did I do? Someone's inconsistent. Am I too much? Someone treats you like an option, right? Maybe I need to try harder. No. Full fucking stop. That's the program talking. Because here's the truth. People don't consider it doesn't have a single damn thing to do with you. I know, right? People treat you based on them, their upbringing, their wounds, their habits, their character or lack of it, their integrity or lack of it. Hell, sometimes it's just their mood, right? Sometimes it's because they had a fight with their spouse in the morning. Sometimes it's because they just didn't get laid that morning, right? Sometimes it's simply because, well, they're an asshole, right? Think about it. You've had moments where you showed up as an asshole. I may or may not have. You've been short with someone for no real reason. You've been distracted, irritable, off. Did that mean that the person suddenly lost their worth? No. So why the hell do you do it to yourself? Because once you really understand this, once it clicks that how people treat you is not a direct reflection of your value, everything shifts. Because now you stop chasing validation. You stop trying to earn better treatment. You stop bending yourself into a pretzel to be more acceptable. And you start doing a lot of things different, right? You start requiring better from people, not begging for it, not explaining your way into it, not hoping they'll figure it out, right? You require it. And yeah, that might mean you have to treat people better too. Yeah, it's not one-sided, sorry. You don't get to demand respect while giving bullshit. But that might be another video. It also means this: you stop sitting in spaces where you're not being treated the way you should or the way you deserve to be. Not because you're offended, but because you just know better and you can expect better. So here's where it starts. Not out there, not with them. It starts with you. Look in the mirror and recognize your worth today. It's not based on how someone texted you back, or it's not based on whether they stayed or whether they left, or it's not based on whether someone chooses you or doesn't choose you. Your worth was never, ever, ever a question. The program, that's questionable. And once you see that, you stop negotiating with people who really never gave a damn about you anyway, right? You stop internalizing behavior that was never about you either. And you start building a life that actually reflects who you are. And if you're stuck in that pattern, and if you know you're still doing this, go to nurseadrienne.com, book some time with me, schedule a call, and we'll work on undoing that pattern. Let's rewire that shit in real time, because you don't need more information. You need a new program. And that's how you get the life they say you couldn't have.